Welcome back to the podcast. Pastor Scott here, along with Pastors Brian and Matt.
Hello.
Hello.
It's the three of us guys.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's still 2025.
Still 2025. We are smack dab in between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yep. When we're recording this. Yeah. That's the context. Yeah. So we're in a
Just wanna
cheery
place it.
mood, Christmassy mood.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes, it is.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Brian, do you feel that way?
I do.
Is this
I
the
love
most
Christmas.
I know you do.
I love Christmas. I love this season. I tried to start listening to Christmas music before Thanksgiving because like Coast does it on the radio. I think November 1. I couldn't really do it. I couldn't get myself what I want is an extra week in between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't want to pry it into early November. But what are you gonna do? But yeah, I love this time of year. This is the Christmas trees, decorations, the whole thing.
All of a sudden I was thinking really strategically. I'm like, no, there's nothing you can do.
I was going to say, do you know that it's Abraham Lincoln's fault because he's the one who established Thanksgiving as when it is?
Well, I'm not mad at Thanksgiving.
I know. I'm just saying it could have been earlier. Could have been the second Thursday.
Our
Canadian Thanksgiving's early.
Would say that, the Christmas season starts a Christmas day. It's like the Advent until Christmas. But when the whole city doesn't really go with you, you can do it, but it's not the same kind of experience that I kind of, that I like.
My brother is a full-on Christmas on November 1st, like Christmas music, decorations November 1st. I've never been able to pull it off. Never been able to get into it.
Does he leave them up after Christmas long?
Nope.
The day after Christmas is done. Okay.
Yeah.
He's sick of him at that point.
Addison, my oldest daughter, this is her senior year in high school, and so November 1st, she was listening to Christmas music. I mean, it's a pretty hard rule in our house. Like, no Thanksgiving, and it's not just Thanksgiving Day; it's Thanksgiving dinner. As soon as Thanksgiving dinner is over, you can push play.
Really?
Yeah. And so Thanksgiving night, it was always filled with Christmas music in our house. But she started November 1st because she's like, this is my last Christmas, before I move out. Or she was like super nostalgic.
Oh, wow.
She's in full nostalgia mode. And so
is she doing that with everything? This is my last.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Last Arbor Day. Looking at a lot of trees.
Longingly looking at the trees
in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
I'll look at them.
Interesting.
She's definitely very aware of it.
Yeah.
Definitely very aware of it. So, speaking of a bit of nostalgia, that's what I wanted to spend some time doing today is just looking back on 2025, looking forward to 2026. There's this time of year, lots of, best of lists come out. And so we're going to start by ranking the best 10 sermons of the year. We're really number 10. Wouldn't that be great?
Wait, us doing it for ourselves?
For ourselves?
That'd be really a fun.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. But I figured it is a helpful time to look back, to reflect, to consider God's faithfulness, to consider the work that He's done over the course of a year, and therefore to kind of set the stage in looking forward to where we're headed next year. So
we have not done top 10 sermons, but we have gone through, and Brian went through at different points historically and determined who was the shortest preacher, who preached the shortest sermons on average. And actually I have made him trophies before because he won shortest preacher. I'm the shortest in terms of stature. He's the shortest in terms of length of the sermon in 2024. He got a little trophy.
Dude, that was 2022. Man.
Oh, 2022.
You're still thinking about it now.
I haven't done it every year?
No.
Oh.
Well, so
what year is it?
And Matt made he saw where the standings were this year, and in December, just last week, he made a play for the shortest sermon.
Ahead.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not in the lead. I got to do it. And so you were under 30 minutes last Sunday.
I know, but the law of averages makes it really, really difficult.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Well, you're averaging it out. So it's the shortest sermon, but shortest overall time. That's the thing that we were counting.
Oh,
yeah.
That is harder.
Yeah.
Matt just said I talked faster. That was the main difference maker.
That is a factor.
Okay. So as we think about the last year, and we're not going to rank sermons or, songs or anything else like that.
Service leading, top 10 best service leading.
Why does
The 10
Dennis
best
Durr
confessions.
Dennis Durr gets the
always
top
wins.
4 slots?
Yeah.
You know,
Top 10 pastoral prayers. This is how it all goes awry. This is how it all goes awry. You commercialize it all, you repackage them and sell them again.
we shouldn't have even suggested this because
No,
you know
it's
that some
terrible.
discipleship community
Yeah.
is like, we should. All right.
We should rank them.
All right. So aside from ranking sermons, as you look back on the past year, what stands out to you?
In the past, like the whole year?
Yeah, the whole year. What stands out to you in the life of the church?
How weird it is that when you try and think back to the whole year, like 6 months ago feels like multiple years ago. I think part of it's just that that's kind of a meta reflection, but like how much we live in the moment. Because like the fires were this year, and you kind of go, oh man, like that was such a big deal in the life of the city. For so many people, it's still something they're dealing with, going through, like rebuilding, things like that. So obviously for them, it feels still very present. But for a lot of people who were not directly affected by the fires, it's easy to forget that was this year, and like a decent chunk for our church of this year, because Samaritan's Purse was here until like May,
yeah.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
January 7th, I think. Like
Yeah.
early January when the Palisades fire started. I know the Eden fire and Palisades fire. In our area, the Palisades fire was just, I mean, that was dominant for a long period of time. And I think actually that first period when the fires were starting, that it was the wind. Remember, like we had windows broken, and like it was there's power outages, and we didn't know if the fire. I mean, I would be driving to the church, and you could see the fires up on the hill. Like we were in an almost evacuation zone. It was not just a few blocks north of here, and then we were a center. We were a center where people could come to for shelter, but that dominated months.
Yeah.
I mean, months of thinking and processing and how to serve, how to care for people, prayer. That was a significant portion of the first quarter to half of the year.
Yeah. So actually, maybe thinking about that first half of the year, I'm curious. Like that's the headline, right? The fires were the big kind of context for a lot of things that were going on. How do you feel like you saw the church develop and grow through that season?
I mean, I do think Samaritan's Purse provided some pretty amazing opportunities for people in the church to do something, actually kind of hard. Not hard relative to, losing your home, but hard in the sense that a lot of people, there's not a lot of opportunities to put on like a hazmat suit and go up and dig through ash, knowing you're probably going to find very little, but to do very difficult, very physically and emotionally taxing work for the sake of someone else. And a decent amount of people at Cornerstone stepped up for that. And there are a lot of stories. I mean, I think on the podcast, I think Nancy actually, maybe it was a family meeting, talked about people who came to Cornerstone because of that, like connections we made to other just human beings who went through something very difficult as a result of that. And so I think our church's connection to the city and care for like the people here grew in a way, kind of indirectly in one sense, because it was only a few people who you were directly going, oh, I'm going to help you, at this one home that burned down or things like that. But the idea of having Samaritan's Purse here, the idea of being a place that the city could count on in whatever little way we could provide, I think that was a really helpful shaping moment for understanding our identity as a church, and something I don't want to lose, because I think that because right now it's like, oh right, the fires were like this year. There's a way to let that stuff go entirely into the rearview mirror and forget that we're still just as much a part of the city. We're still just as much people who are called to care for it, today.
Yeah, it's such an interesting marker in time, because it really has seemed over the last number of years and over the last few years that the Lord has been growing our church's heart for the city, even our connection into the city and the heart to be a church, not just in the city, but a church for the city. And that event, that moment, provided an incredible opportunity to demonstrate and to manifest where those hearts were put into action in a really practical way. And coming out of that, I think you've seen the impact of it being our church being changed because of the work God was doing before that, being changed because of the impact of this last year, and having just a more vibrant heart and care and awareness and attention to the needs of the city.
Yeah, and I think there are also other ways that people were serving in that time. There were people who were counseling people and meeting with people who were raising funds, people who were raising supplies to care for people. I mean, there's so many ways that was a galvanizing force in a lot of ways. Not to mention the Samaritan's Purse people were on our campus, interacting with people at the church, coming to our services. We were meeting teams and praying with people and investing that time. I think it was a unique season in that way. That was also, you have like so much happening there too, because in the first half of the year, this is when Trump is inaugurated again, right? So you have a new president, and there's a new administration with a lot of different things when it comes to immigration, which really ramped up towards the middle of the year. That impacts a lot of the people in our church community in a variety of ways, on top of so many other economic worries and struggles that are out there right now. I think some of those meta things, those big things, those kind of global things, whether it's politics or fires or other things like that, I think all of them, it seems like there's been this, I don't know, the events of the world seem to have cultivated in this profound way a deep spiritual curiosity in a lot of people in our city. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I hate to even say it that way, because it's not like the fire has caused this. God is using events. I mean, whether it's, we can talk about Charlie Kirk's assassination, or which I've heard multiple people even recently tell me in the last few weeks was a pivotal moment for them, and they're coming to faith or coming back to faith. The fires, the Trump administration, the immigration stuff, like there's so many things happening out there, and God is, it seems like, just really uniquely using a lot of different events, global issues, to cultivate a curiosity in so many people that I'm overwhelmed with the curiosity in a good way, overwhelmingly excited about that. And that really I think that's been the whole year, starting from the beginning of the fires all the way through to this very day.
Yeah, it's like there's an increased heart in our church for the city, but there's also an increased curiosity in the city for the things of God, for the eternal.
Yeah.
And it's like the Lord has been preparing us for this season.
Yeah, and I want to be very careful about that, because I don't want to be like, oh, this horrible thing, caused the spiritual revival or whatever it is. But it's like there's clearly a sense of openness from those outside the church, or young believers, or whoever it is who are just thinking through and processing things. I don't think we've ever had. We haven't counted, again, that we're reflecting on the year. I don't think we've ever had more baptisms in one year than we've had this year. Mm-hmm. I mean, in the entire life of the merged church, at least, I can't speak for hundreds of years, 120 years before, but there's so many people coming to faith, so many people re-energized in their faith, so many people considering either for the first time or the 10,000th time spiritual things that have maybe been forgotten. And I think God is using some of those big global issues to somehow cultivate that. I don't understand it. I'm not even, I'm saying it, and I know there's a connection, but I don't even fully grasp the connection and how God is using it. It's him. It's his work.
Yeah. You'd even think, I mean, and you're seeing that across the different aspects of our church and parts of our church, right? Whether it's English, Spanish, Farsi, like you would think that the detentions would have scared a number of people Farsi speakers, people from Iran,
Yeah.
off from church,
Yeah.
from gathering, from and
there have been a few.
few have, but that segment of our church is growing like never before,
rapidly.
I mean, so
And it's not just like young people. I mean,
no,
it's like
it's every walk of life.
A 45-year-old guy who's international, who is not a believer, who's just coming to church curious. There are people who are young college. I mean, it's everybody. It's across spectrums. It's breaking these kind of barriers of what we would expect and what we can explain sociologically. It's God's working in really, really profound ways, which is a really cool thing.
Yeah. Okay, so this might already, I mean, we may already be answering this question, but I'm curious, as you think back over the last year, what's surprised you most over the past year? And most might be a unhelpfully limiting word, but what has particularly surprised you as you think back over the last year?
I think what Matt is saying, honestly, is the most surprising thing to me, because I think we are old enough now to remember when it was just extraordinarily different. I mean, it was not that long ago. I mean, it's more than a year, but it was 15 years ago when the new atheists, were on the rise, and sort of like religion was out, and everyone was sort of like, yeah, it's like the cause of all the evil in the world, and that's what everyone around you seemed to think. And if someone did manage to invite someone to church, that was typically the perspective that they had. Obviously, plenty of exceptions, but like there was kind of a something in the air that felt like that was the cultural consensus in the
Especially
city.
here, yeah.
Yeah, and then to now feel like it is just profoundly different, and to maybe, Matt, you're right. Maybe there's a sense in which we're seeing maybe fruit from things that were planted or whatever, however this stuff comes about in its sort of secondary causes. God's doing something, and then all these other things happen as means to bring it about. But whatever that is, to see that kind of happen inside of a year, to have baptisms, but also for me, more conversations at church with people who are just very vocal about how they don't believe this stuff, but maybe will. Like that just was never a conversation I had with people in a church service before. It wasn't combative, but it was far more like, I'm very skeptical of all of this. I'm sort of barely here, but I don't mind talking to you because you seem nice. And now it's like, hey, I've got questions for you, and I'm curious about this, I'm curious about that. And so to me, it's surprising, because I think for all of us, you have this sense that what happened when you were like 20 to like 30 is just sort of how the world is. And so for us, it's a particular snapshot in time, right? But that was where that new atheist, like that cultural consensus felt like it was really strong. And then to go, oh, that's not the whole world. God changes things move around. That's been a really pleasant surprise. And it also, I think, helps us look forward and go, well, this might not last either. Like, who knows? Just keep preaching the gospel. But to know that God's in it in all these different ways has been really, really wonderful.
I feel like, and this might be similar with a number of people our age, I'm still trying to catch up to it. I feel like I'm still trying to get used to it, because I'm still, when I talk with people that don't know Christ yet, I'm still so cautious and careful, because I think I'm assuming that you have a bunch of objections right in the front, that I'm assuming that the curiosity is not there. And I feel like, nobody's like said this to me explicitly, but I feel like after I get into a conversation, it's almost like the other person saying to me, like, stop being so cautious. Just tell me the gospel, right? Just tell me what I want to know. And I feel like I'm still catching up to that because of all those years where it was a very different situation.
Well, I mean, the city is still the city, and you can't speak sort of this universally, right, about everyone. There's still plenty of people who are still have plenty of objections and things like that, and that's all well and good. But because I do think those are in some ways helpful for us. It keeps you honest. You got to have good answers for objections that people have. But yeah, the idea that it's more of a mixed bag now, that you can't know that someone's got their heels sort of dug in when you're talking to them. They might not. They might be looking for an open door. What a fun time to to live. And, what a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, as pastors, we sometimes think that this kind of spiritual interest and response and, fruitfulness and all these other things, we sometimes think it's usually a result of some kind of ingenious plan we had, right? Like, and we've always been intentional. We've always wanted to be serving the city. We've always wanted to be like inviting non-believers to consider and think about and know Christ. Like we like this is it's for the 125 years this church has done this, right? So it's not a new thing, but I think that what's so fascinating is this is distinct from any specific plan. I mean, we're intentional. We try to be purposeful. We try to grow. We're not perfect. The church is not perfect. We want to grow. We want to be better at inviting people. We want to provide avenues and opportunities for people. Like, I'm not saying we're doing nothing and then all of a sudden God's doing this. Like, God's using our efforts as well. But it's not us. It's not us. It's not our ingenuity and not our planning. And I think the other part that is probably the other aspect of shocking, surprising of the year, I just think the college students. I mean, the college students of the church are such a joy. These are some incredibly mature 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who want to serve the Lord, who are kingdom-minded, are not afraid of, whatever the world says you need to be at that age, and are serving, sacrificial, committed, intentional, selfless. I'm overwhelmingly, if you're a college student listening to this, I'm overwhelmingly impressed with you college students for your godliness and your faithfulness to Christ and his kingdom, serving not just here at Cornerstone, serving in your, summer service projects that you're doing all throughout the country and throughout the world, your heart for the world and global ministry, you're serving. We just baptized Josiah last night, and Nicole and I were talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know Josiah because he served at VBS last year, Cornerstone Kids Camp." I'm like, "Oh yeah," I'm like, these students, these young adults are just so impressive in their zeal and commitment to the Lord. And my hope in all of this, is as a church, our posture towards what God's doing here is one of cultivation of discipleship, because it's one thing for people to be converted and excited and have zeal in a moment, but the long, steady, ongoing obedience in the same direction, right, is something that is cultivated through discipleship and investment and following Christ. I want these college students who are 18 to be following Christ 60 years from now. And so I'm excited to see what God does with that.
Absolutely. Okay, so I do want to talk about Sunday mornings, and I do want to talk about some of our sermons. I mean, particularly because this last fall we've been going through the attributes of God, and so the perfections of God.
No one is going to get that.
But
characteristics,
and so our people have heard a lot about us explaining them and talking about them. I'm curious, like, after 3 months in considering the nature of who God is, what's been the greatest impact of that on you, on each of you personally?
Sermon series are always interesting because for me, most of the time, and I think for you guys too, in broad strokes, they always show up after. You can.
It's part of why I'm asking now.
Yeah,
we're kind of coming to the end.
It's not. Like when the sermon series starts is typically after I've done a lot of thinking and like dwelling, and stuff like that. And for me, this particular series is one of the harder ones to put into words in terms of its impact, because other ones, we did a series on suffering, it's sort of like, oh yeah, so now I kind of look at the suffering in my life and I have these tools or resources, ways of understanding God's role in it, ways of moving through it in prayer and, lament and things like that. You can imagine a lot of other series like that, or even Luke as a whole, I have a better sense of who Jesus is in these specific things that I can apply in my life. Especially the first few attributes don't come with built-in application handles. It's not like, oh, cool, God is eternal, therefore I know how to like work my job different, or like I know how to like think about my life like differently. You need to kind of do a little bit of work to get there. And ideally the sermons help with that. But for me, that's a lot of throat clearing to get to the answer. For me, it puts me on my heels before God. So like there's a way of God becoming an idea, like Christianity is a set of best practices that you kind of use to live life well, to get through things that are hard, to not fall into traps, that life can put in your way. But when you start thinking about the transcendence, the self-sufficiency, the eternality, the omnipresence of God, you just sort of realize that you've reduced things down way too much in terms of how you understand what's going on in reality. And so just thinking about a God like that, it's such an esoteric answer, but I think it's important because a lot of the things that we do, appropriately so, are geared towards this shouldn't be, dry, dusty theology. It should apply to your life in this way and that way. And we want to make sure that we don't just sort of lecture about things. But there's I think a very important part of being a Christian and just therefore being a human that's about thinking about what God's actually like, and that's the God you're actually praying to and the God that actually made you, and having that expand your soul in certain ways so that you just, it's not like now you know how to do this different thing at work, but you are a different kind of person at work. It's not just how to be a different person in the city. You are a kind of different person because your soul's been expanded. And that's not something that I've really pushed in the sermons themselves. But I think hopefully that's actually one of the big things people have taken away. Like we've tried to get very practical, with the messages.
Yeah. Do you feel like your soul has been expanded?
I think that the sermon series is a result of my soul being expanded. And that's why I'm like, it's hard to answer that question because like when you're preaching a sermon series, people are encountering that sometimes for the first time, or like they're encountering it. They haven't been thinking about it the way you have for the 6 months prior. And so at some level, no matter what, they're kind of coming at it more recently than you are. And so for me, a lot of sermon series, and especially this one, is like, I've encountered these things. These things I think have expanded me in certain ways. And now I get to like talk about it. I get to show you why it actually does matter in your practical life. But simultaneously, I hope it just leaves you going, whoa, in the best possible version of the phrase, I had no idea what God was like. And that's what a beautiful, disorienting, wonderful thing to have happen to you.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how, and I don't know if you were going to go there, but how the series on the attributes of God and the start of the year being in Luke, how those kind of have dovetailed together for you to work towards that sort of expansion of your soul, for the church as a whole, because they go really well. We've had our eyes fixed on Jesus, and now we're having our eyes fixing on God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit, like the essence of God in His characteristics and attributes and perfections. But can you talk about the connection between those two? Because that was the first part of the year heading into the second part of the year.
Yeah. So Luke, Christianity at some point just from one angle, it starts with Jesus, right? Like that's like where everything begins, and from and from to Him, like it kind of all roads kind of lead through Jesus Christ. And so Luke is a wonderful way in this moment we find ourselves in to introduce people to Christianity, because it's the story of Jesus Christ. And once you know that story, you're being brought in to what it means to be a Christian. But also, we came to the fall and we kind of thought, so many people are coming and they're curious about God, and they're coming with not necessarily that much background, or not a background we can count on. Some people are coming with very little knowledge of Christianity or like the idea of God in general. We should probably help them with that. And the fall is a great time to do that, to talk about His reality and these attributes. on top of that, you have plenty of Christians who share certain cultural assumptions just from the time we're living about what God must be like. Yeah, he's like really big, and he's kind of grandfatherly, and like so all these things that kind of get blown out of the water with the idea that no, he's like transcendent and he's bigger than big and all these things. So everyone gets helped when you do this, but a lot of it was going, well, how do we introduce people to God in himself so that they can encounter Christianity with an idea about God that's right and not one that you have to sort of fix up along the way. But then there's this beautiful thing that's going to happen that was the initial idea, right? And then I was like, oh, but wait, because it leads you to Christmas. And then like this Sunday, I'm going to preach on the Trinity, which we haven't gotten to yet. We've only kind of done God generally. It's like, it turns out God's triune. Like that's a game changer. And then Scott's going to get up before Christmas and talk about Hebrews 1 and Jesus being the exact imprint of his nature, the radiance of God's glory. And like that Christmas is all the God we talked about coming to us in Jesus Christ. And we'll have a couple sermons on what that means, like God being fully God, fully man, or Jesus being fully God and fully man. And then we're going to land right back in Luke in the passage where Jesus asks Simon Peter, who do you say that I am? What do you think Scott's going to preach? And so basically what we're going to get to do is take all of this that we've learned about the attributes of God and realize that God is the one we've been reading about and learning about in the book of Luke. And so you're going to come back into the book of Luke with an expanded version and understanding of what it means that Jesus really is the Son of God, taken on human nature. And I think that's just going to change the way we read the rest of the book, because we're always going to kind of have this sense that it's not just like a guy, it's not just like a really holy guy either. Even if you know better than that, sometimes it feels that way. Mm-hmm. And then when you realize after all that we've done, no, this is the eternal, omniscient, omnipotent, transcendent, self-sufficient, just, holy, faithful God who's now walking around talking to human beings. That just, I don't know. It hits different, as they say.
Yeah, you have a holistic view of who Jesus Christ is in his godness. And that's I think that's going to serve us as a church really well. So excited for that. Grateful for what's gone before, but excited for what's coming.
We'll drop back into Luke, and then we'll make our way towards Luke's account of the crucifixion, resurrection, and Easter 2027. So
it's a very delicate schedule right now. Yes, we've got a goal to hit,
but we're gonna
Easter 2027. Mark your calendars now.
That's right. So in addition to Luke, I'm really looking forward to diving back in. I think you're absolutely right that entering back in after this meditation, we're going to be reading Luke differently. I mean, like you always are. So in addition to Luke, then. What else are you guys particularly looking forward to as you think in the life of the church? What are you looking forward to in 2026?
You get to talk about the kind of the changes to cohorts and equipping classes, and there was like a lot of excitement about cohorts and equipping on that side. I mean, we've had some really great cohorts. I mean, you're developing a whole system of cohorts as well. Leading into on the equipping side. Is that something you guys want to touch on? It's just that a lot of people participated in Super Sundays. Super Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, those have.
Do you guys like that?
We should use that sound every time.
Adam will cut it, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we could talk about that, and there's been a lot of really cool, really exciting conversations that have gone on in that. There's lots of different things we could look back on. I think maybe we could take that as a honors to, a lot of those cohorts are stepping into their second half and next iteration going forward. We've got
that's what I was thinking about. I wasn't just ignoring your question.
No, it's all right. Yeah. The Bible's finally going to get to New Testament. We're going to look at in the Making Disciples cohort, we've been looking at listening and knowing people, and we're going to look into what does it look like to proactively apply the Word of God into other people's lives. The Walking in the World class also similarly going from focusing on our relationship with God to our relationship with people. Not to mention all the kids stuff that is getting some great traction. Yeah, I mean, when you think about what what stands out to you, Brian?
That is one of the things that I'm particularly excited about as it continues to develop. I think it's gonna kind of come into its own as this next year and then the year after that. I think that most people, especially in Los Angeles, where people kind of move here a lot and then move away a lot, you always have people who are coming from different places and different experiences, and we're seeing that now. And then you're layering on top of that the fact that there are all these people who are curious, who are interested, and maybe don't have a lot of exposure to the Bible or to the Christian life and how to live it. And we have, over the last few years, really worked hard to be set up to receive all of those people and those people who've been around for a while and be able to give them something that can help them live the Christian life and learn the basics, but not just the basics, like the depth, the richness, the fullness of what it means to be a Christian and what we believe as Christians, like kind of the heritage that belongs to you as a Christian. That for most people, whether they're new or they're from somewhere else, there's always like if it's a map, your Christianity is a map. There's always like holes in the map, but they're in different places for different people. And so like these cohorts, the idea that we can resource people and be able to say, hey, here's a map that doesn't have holes in it. There's ways to color in more. There's ways to shade it more. There's ways to get, to zoom in more in different places and like fill in, generalities. And there's always more room to grow as a Christian, more to learn. But to give you a map with no holes, like that gets me really excited. And that people are excited about that and they're curious and that they want to know their Bible and learn what we believe in deeper ways, that the kids are like learning. Like I'm still learning along with my kids doing the
catechism.
Yeah, the Super Sunday Kids stuff. I'm always like, man, that's really good. I kind of knew that, but I'm really glad that catechism question got asked and answered. Like that's really good. So to me, that's one of the things that's very exciting, is seeing that continue to grow and actually seeing it meet the moment we're in more and more and more, even more than maybe we planned originally.
The other thing I'm excited about, I think that's awesome, and I'm really pumped about kind of the ongoing equipping. I think about that especially for what I said earlier about discipleship, for this excitement and zeal in the moment. The discipleship and the equipping with God's word is so crucial for that ongoing development and the lifelong walking with Christ. But I'm excited to continue to connect with and reach out to those who are exploring. So we're probably going to be starting like a Christianity Explored, some more formal ways for people to get connected who are not Christians yet, but exploring Christianity. And I'm excited to continue to cultivate that curiosity, because you have the zeal on one side and you have curiosity on another side, and what it looks like to maybe build an infrastructure to facilitate and open the doors for that curiosity to cultivate it. So that's what I'm really excited about for 2026.
That's awesome. Yeah, and when I think about just there's a lot of different programs and events and things like that I'm excited about, whether it's the Addiction Conference finally coming up in January, the men's retreat, things like that. But I think behind all of that, one of the things I'm particularly excited about, we haven't talked about it yet, but during Lent, we're planning on doing some weekly prayer meetings during Lent. And I'm excited at the prospect of, while we nurture our heart for our city, we as a church continue to deepen our relationship and abiding in God and abiding in Christ. I think to me, it seems like the natural next step after learning who God is, to interact with that God more deeply, to interact with him more regularly, to engage. I'm always struck. We just completed the Walking with God class with a number of people, most of which are newer to the church. And when you talk about prayer, there's just this hunger in people to commune with God, and a desire and wanting to know more about that. And so that's in one sense less programmatic, but more a prayer that I have for our people, that we would, that all of this would facilitate a more intimate relationship with God, a deeper, abiding, and more consistent relationship as they're going forward. So, yeah, I mean, as you guys think about where we're at, and maybe let me just, as we close, open that door. Then, as you think about the church, our church family, the people, and this is obviously a general question, but not just what are the things you're looking forward to, but what are the desires, the hearts, the culture that you're hoping to see God continue to grow in this coming year?
And we've talked a lot about things that are new or going, moving forward and growing. One of the things that strikes me about this last year that I'm excited about coming up in this year is the thing that kind of keeps happening over and over again. But I think of very specific people who went through just really, really difficult seasons of life in 2025. Like, it was like not an easy year. And maybe that started in 2024, for a variety of reasons. And I've watched them weather that and grow in faith and struggle, but be met with God's comfort. And I watched them do it with other people in the church, and just kind of, we have talked a lot about, sermon series and programs. And obviously I value those things pretty highly. I think that God uses them. I think they're important. But reflection like this always kind of draws me back to what the church is at its core, at least in terms of like how it expresses itself. And that's people in relationship with each other, just helping each other grow, helping each other, bearing burdens, challenging each other, but also just kind of throwing other people on your back for a while when they need it. So to me, that's one of the things I'm excited to see continue to grow at Cornerstone. It's going to keep happening. I mean, I've just had conversations yesterday. Every Sunday you have a conversation. Just had conversations with people who are going through something really difficult, and it's starting now. It's like, okay, so that probably means 2026 is going to be the year that we see that same thing, where we come together as a church and we support them and help them grow, and God meets them in it. And they come out different than they went in. And it's also pretty exciting to think that that's going to happen in tiny ways that the three of us never see in discipleship communities, and the relationships that are formed there. As new people to the church get brought into those and woven into what it means to be the church. A lot of new things, a lot of great growth, but in some ways the most exciting stuff is the stuff that's just always been happening on the ground every day, with Christians loving each other and caring for each other and supporting each other.
I'm excited for the fourth service. That's really, really great. Yeah, that's just like 5, 6, 10 services.
We didn't mention adding a
No,
service.
I'm kidding. I'm
That's
kidding.
really
Yeah, we
funny.
did. No, we did. We added a service this year. So,
Yeah,
and we're making space for more people, and that's the goal is not more people, but making space so that people can hear the gospel. So I think that just that the passion and like the zeal, I want that to carry, like just a love for God, passion for his kingdom, priorities all lined up, right? Just people excited, wanting to learn, wanting to grow, in a posture of ready to learn and be used by God. That's what I want to be in 2026. And I hope that's where the church is too.
So that's one of the cool things about
We're not adding a fourth service.
We're not adding a fourth
Sorry, I should have. I kind of joked about it.
That's one of the cool things about the church and the life of the church too, right? Is that we're not reinventing a vision each year, right? We're not chasing after something different or unique. We're looking ahead to the unique ways the Lord's going to bear the fruit that he's borne for 2,000 years in the life of his people, and we get to participate in it.
We're just responding.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's all ministry and life of the church is following that core vision and coming to know him more. So in that sense, there's a lot to look forward to in 2026, not because our plans or hopes will come to fruition, but because he is still who he is, and he's going to continue the work that he's been doing now. So thanks, guys. This is fun.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
We should
Thank
make
you.
this an annual thing. I'll make a mark of it.
We also have the World Cup in the United States next year, 2026. We got the Olympics coming up in LA, 2028. There's like a lot of exciting things coming up over the next few years. Externally,
That's great. World Cup.
that's
soccer.
it's
right?
like there's like a round thing, and then they use their feet for some reason.
Oh, football.
Yeah, they're not good with their hands.
All right. Well, thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of this ride and this journey with us. It is such a privilege to get to be a part of this church family with you. And we love you, and we'll see you on Sunday.